Good afternoon, all. Just popping on in to check on everybody and let you guys know what's going on with me. As soon as I started making more videos, then boom, I faced a tragedy in the midst of the pandemic. So my father transitioned to his new place of wherever he decided to go, to his place of balance and wholeness. It's very traumatic for my family and I. We had to deal with a lot with him passing away during this pandemic. We couldn't go in the hospital where he was, except my mom, and she's, got a lot of health issues herself, so she could be a little foggy at times. So I don't know that she asked the right questions, so they just kind of had their way. So he went into the hospital on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and he was gone by the following Tuesday. And I came on not so much to discuss what happened to my dad because, the bottom line is he's no longer in this timeline with us. But I wanted to just relay to you guys how timelines and the Mandela Effect, how it affects every part of our lives. So the Monday before my dad went in the hospital, I started crying uncontrollably. Didn't know what I was crying for, didn't know what was about to happen, just didn't know. And it had happened to me a couple of weeks previous where I was crying, but I kind of in my mind, I was like, oh no, I can't deal with a death right now, whoever it is, we we just kind of send it back or whatever. So the Monday prior to, started crying, just weeping uncontrollably. Didn't know what was wrong, but I've had this happen to me before. When I was my grandmother was about to transition, I started crying uncontrollably. Didn't know why I was crying a week prior. So it happens again. So I called my daughter and I said, it's happening again. I'm crying uncontrollably and I don't know why. So she's like, it's granddaddy. He's not been feeling well. He's not been eating. He's not been doing. I know my mom told me that he hadn't been feeling well, and it was like around Father's Day, and I sent him a really funny gift. So I sent him a really funny gift, so I was, very excited about his response to the gift because I like to hear my dad laugh because, I just like to hear him happy. And he was I'm gonna try not to cry, guys, but he was a great provider. He didn't have a easy way to go sometimes in his delivery and talking to you, but he meant well, and his complete and utter desire was for us to be well, be provided for, well taken care of. And he was a step parent, so he didn't have to do those things, but that's who he was. So just wasn't like him to not call me and say thank you, or to say he got the gift and call me and laugh about it. So I just knew something was wrong. So I finally did talk to him a few days. I think it was on Father's Day. Yeah, I called because I wanted to tell him Happy Father's Day. And I asked him if he liked the gift, and he did laugh, like he normally did, but I could tell something was going on with his voice. He just didn't sound good. So whenever my daughter said it's granddaddy, I thought about all of that. So they went over to him, and I make these tonics for immunity um, that help keep your immune system up, and especially now with COVID and coronavirus, whatever the hell they are around being sprayed in the air. So my father, she went over there, and he wouldn't eat, but we didn't know what was wrong with him. Him not eating probably was the best thing for him, but we didn't know what was wrong with him. If y'all see yellow stuff on my hands, it's from something I was doing in the house with turmeric. So he was just like looking bad. He was staying in his room. He wasn't cleaning up behind himself or anything. Like it was just really bad. It was different for him because my dad is not like that. So they went over, they were bringing him soups and salads, and giving him the immunity tonic that I have. And when he would give him the tonic, he would want to eat or whatever, but he said his breathing, he just felt like he couldn't breathe well. So he made an appointment with the neurologist because of all the pain he was having. He thought he was having another back flare up, but what was happening was he had lung cancer, and it was spreading, and he didn't know that he had the cancer, and it was very aggressive, and so it just had time to spread. So him not wanting to eat and things like that was probably helping, but he didn't have a lot of weight on him to begin with, so it just wasn't going to go well in either way it went, and it had spread to his liver. So it was kind of too late for the tonic. If we had caught it, maybe 3 or 4 months prior, we probably could have helped him at least slow the spread. But at any rate, I started crying a week prior, and then the kids went over to try to revive him. They got him to the point where he was able to walk into the hospital, and when he got to the neurologist, they didn't like his breathing. He was still at 92% though, which isn't a bad place to be when you're breathing. So I don't understand how he just went belly up at the hospital, but we know how that goes. So gets to the hospital, he has an aggressive lung cancer, blah blah blah. He goes in, he doesn't come out. But my spirit already knew. So my spirit saw on another timeline before it came that my father was about to pass. And this is a step parent. Again, we have no blood ties, but he's been around since I was 3 years old. So I felt his death coming, and it happened. There's nothing we could do to fix it, nothing we could do to stop it. It was just coming, and my spirit already knew. So that was one thing. So because my spirit already knew, my dad was always carried a top secret clearance in the military. He had a brilliant mind, and they fought because he had a drinking problem when he was in the military, and he would get in trouble, DUIs and things, but they always fought to keep him in the military. Like, all of his superiors would plead with the other superiors to not kick him out. That because he had a brilliant mind. So because of me being my typical conspiracy theory self, even in my father's death, I pulled his gematria. And his gematria in one form or one language said, diagnosed with cancer. One said Human Genome Project. One said some God or something has left the earth. And there were so many other things. Led Zeppelin. My father liked Led Zeppelin. My father is the reason why I speak well, because I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm an original Gullah Geechee Indigenous American. Don't come in the camera. What's up?
Do you have a charger like this?
Look in my room. I might have a blue one, but I'm not sure.
Alright.
Sorry, guys. Indigenous American, and the people here speak a broken English, English almost like a patois, but it doesn't sound as well formed as patois, so it sounds a little Ebonics, like some might say, but it's very different, and it's almost like the people in New Orleans, but they sound more like Bahamians. So if you've ever been around Bahamians, just imagine Americans speaking the way that they speak, with all of our slangs and Ebonics. So, but it's culture here, so it's nothing. It's not right or wrong. But I speak the way that I do because my father was in the Navy, and we left Charleston at a very early time in my life where I had the opportunity to be around other people of other races from all over the world. So I had to adapt, because anywhere you go, you should be able to adapt. So with that in mind, the last thing that came up on his gematria was coronavirus hoax. So I was like, wow. So there are things that happen within our timeline that my father was aware of 20 years prior, that happened on our timeline. So the other weird thing was, I did a reading on my father, because you guys know I read tarot. And when I did the reading on my father, it came back that he had this great life with a lover, and it was prosperity and money and all this stuff. So I'm like, I know that he's gonna die because I felt it. I want to believe that he'll get better and live, but I don't know, because I know what I felt already. So sure enough, he did die, just like I felt. And I know my dad was the type of person where he was always up and moving and doing things, and he took care of his dog, he took care of the house, like he was always up doing things. So even if we could have brought him home, he would not have wanted to be dependent on us to take care of him in that way, because he just wasn't that kind of person. He would have wanted to go, and that's why even when he was in the hospital and they were doing all these things to him, he was like pulling out the stuff. He just did not want to prolong it. And so but I saw this in the card, so I'm like, there are people on this planet that this Mandela Effect, it's not surprising to them. They know what's going on because they have prior knowledge, especially people in the military. I believe that they are privy to a lot of things, and I think that's why my dad drank, or needed to drink, because he could feel all this stuff get ready to unfold. And even though I feel like he put a lot of things behind him when he got out of the military, it's still there. You still know. And so he started talking to my brother about it and stuff, and I'm really like believing that people already knew this was going to happen. They already knew that these timelines would be merging. And so my dad passed away. My daughters are very close to my dad. My daughter recently got married, and she married a guy that's a lot like my dad, but he has a sweeter way about him. He has a really nice delivery in how he handles people. And my dad kind of had that, and this guy has similar. He was in the prison for years, and my dad was in the military for years. Same difference. It's still a government owned issue. So he has a lot of discipline, as did my father. So they have a very cohesive uh, relationship, and um, my dad liked him. He don't like me. He didn't like many people. He didn't fool around with many people outside of family. He just wasn't that type of dude. So if he liked you, you were good people. So um, after I pulled the gematria on my dad, I saw all those crazy things. Now I'm concerned. My daughters were close to my dad. So, they're crying, they're all upset. So my daughter was in Walmart and she was about to have a meltdown. And she said she lifted her head up and she saw this shirt with Papa Smurf on it, which Papa Smurf, my dad loved the Smurfs. And Papa Smurf was sitting on the cloud with a rainbow behind him, and it said, "I'm free." So since he passed, even before he passed, I have been saying, Daddy, go to your place of wholeness and balance. You don't have to come back here. If you see your relatives on the way, just know that those could be holograms. Those could be fake things to push you back into the matrix. Like, I started talking to my dad as soon as he started to transition. So I talked to this lady that's a medium. She told me to burn some hell notes for him, some joss paper, just in case he, needed anything in between his transition. So I'm like, how in the fuck can where is he at that he would need me to burn hell notes? Is he already back in the matrix? Did he already come back to hell, which is here? Like, it can't be that you're dying and then, because how could we help you on this realm if you are not just in another realm, or not only dead on this timeline? So whatever timeline that you're on now, and a lot of people that are Mandela affected said that they felt like in one part of their life something happened and they know that they died, but yet they're still here. Yet they're still here. We've seen people just on this channel that we've covered that we know they died, but they back alive on our timeline again. So, okay. So I get this Josh paper, and I was going to pay this lady to try to reach my dad. So I get the Josh paper, and that she told me, because I didn't feel like it was anything wrong. My dad was a great provider. So, but I don't want to ever hold anybody to this realm. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we have a choice to go where we want to go when we leave this vessel, I don't want to hold. That's why I don't like burying people. That's why I don't know if I want you to keep my urn. If you do cremate me and spread my ashes immediately, in the event that that's not my ashes, whatever, if they've taken my organs, whatever, I don't know. I just don't like burial. I don't like the idea of people putting ashes under the ground or in vaults. I feel like that entraps people in this realm. That's just my thought. I don't know why I have that thought. So, sure enough, we cremate, we do that. And he has a plot in Albany, Georgia. So I'm talking to the dude on the phone, and I'm like, we just want to spread his ashes within the soil and the earth. This man says, well, you can leave it in the box. I said, I'm not leaving it in the box. I don't want to leave it in the box. Why do I have to leave ashes in a box? I want to spread them out. If we came from the earth and we're going back to the earth, then why his ashes need to be somewhere else? It pissed me off. I'm even pissed off telling y'all. So we do the cremation. The kids want fucking necklaces and stuff with the, and that's their age group. That's what they want. If it's not supposed to be, they'll break and his ashes will go where they want to be. That's how I just have to put that out there. But I did not want to enclose or encase my father into anything. So when my daughter saw that shirt that said, "I'm free," I'm like, okay, that was one sign. So when I spoke to the medium and she told me to burn the Joss paper, I did. And it seemed like when I burned it for him, it provided for me. Like, I tripled in sales and things. So it's got to be something to this. So I was about to pay, like I said, this medium almost $200 to try to contact my dad because I just wanted to know he was okay. We didn't get to touch him. Like, we literally had to watch our father die on video because we couldn't go in the hospital because of the coronavirus hoax that's in his gematria. So burn the Josh papers. I'm just tripling in sales. Money's coming. So it's just odd, it's weird. It's weird. The whole thing is just weird. So there's this lady that I like on Facebook. Her name is Jamila White. Very encouraging. I met her mother here in my area. She did a Black Mermaid dedication in the City Hall building in one of our major cities here in Charleston. All Black mermaids, beautiful, beautiful. She did this about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. We met her mother, and I didn't know that they were mother and daughter until I saw them together on vacation here in South Carolina. So it was really amazing. But she was on somebody else's live doing readings as well as any type of mediumship or whatever. So when I came on, I was like, oh my God, it's Jamila. And she's doing it free. So I put a note in the chat and I said, hey, Jamila, my father just passed away. It was kind of sudden and I just want to know that he's okay. So she was like, she read my comment. What's the odds, right? She read my comment. She was like, okay, let me see if I can reach Brianna's father. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I know that's tough, blah, blah, blah. And so as soon as oh my God, this train. I guess they're done. Probably as soon as I start talking, they're going to do it again. But anyways, so Jamila's there, she's doing the live. So she picks my question and she says, Brianna, I know that hurts. I'm really sorry to hear that about your father. And she said, let me see if I can reach him because sometimes when they transition like that, they don't want to talk. So I have to preface another story before I tell y'all this. So a couple of days after I got home from Georgia, which is where my parents live, and I got back here, I want to say the second night I was home, I went to bed. I wasn't thinking about my dad, but of course it's on my spirit because it just happened. So I'm in bed and I fall asleep, but I'm in between like the sleep realm and not quite sleep. I'm not sure how to explain that. So in an instant, I was in a room, and my dad was in this room, and I was walking towards this door, and he came out of the door, and he closed the door behind him, and he looked at me, and I said, Daddy, and I ran to him, and I hugged him, and as soon as I hugged him, I felt myself moving, like, back in my bed. So, and when I saw him, when he was coming out of the door, he looked confused. Like he didn't know why I was there, or I wasn't supposed to be there. That's the way he looked. But he looked confused when he saw me. But I gave him a hug very quick, and then I was back in my bed, in my body. So when Jamila went to reach out to him, she said, sometimes they don't want to talk when it first happens, but let me see if I can reach him. And she said, oh, I just got this burst of energy that says, and he's saying I'm free. I'm free. She said, your dad is fine. She said, he understands that you guys are grieving and it hurts. He said, but he's free. She said, if I could explain him, he would have on a hat with a brim and, he would be like jumping up, kicking his heels. Like, he's free. So I'm like, wow, okay. Same thing my daughter saw in the store on the shirt. I'm free. So she said, I don't know. He's saying something about ladybugs. If you see ladybugs in odd places or even designs of ladybugs, just know he's around. And so I'm like, wow, okay. So I call my daughter, which I just told you guys, and my daughters are very close to my dad. I called my daughter, and she said, yeah, Daddy liked ladybugs. Told my brother, and my brother said, yeah, Daddy liked ladybugs. So this odd that I have with death, and the fact that I was able to leave my body and go to where my dad was and hug him, because I know I was there. I know I had to come inside, guys, but yeah, I know I was there. I know I was with him. And the thing is, like, I had a thought that came up in my spirit that I would like to open like a funeral, almost like a funeral home, but to allow people to allow their souls to completely leave their body without any interference from machines or anything like that, or pumping them up with a bomb, like the bombing fluid or whatever. But, they could drain their blood. We could drain their blood, but allow their spirits to completely exit the body. Because from the old days, and you guys that are my age, I'm 44. So you guys that are my age, back in the day, especially in the brown community, if someone passed away, they would say, wait 7 days to bury them. We never knew what the reason was. We just knew that's what they said. So those things come back to me. And then I was watching Q Reeves online, and he said it takes 7 days for your soul to completely exit the body. So even though we had plans to cremate him, I was a day before his actual passing away. So his funeral was on a Monday. He passed away on a Tuesday. So I told the funeral director to hold off cremating him because we were still trying to make some decisions on whether or not we still wanted to do it. So, because he does have a plot in his hometown. And so, we just, we did that. So that gave us another day to allow his soul to completely exit the body. Otherwise, they probably would have cremated him Monday night after, because we did have a short viewing for just the family, which he looked great, by the way, guys. He, a lot of times when people look horrible in death, to me, that's reminiscent of what they did or didn't know, or what they thought they were going to in the end. But my father, he looked great. He looked like he hadn't even been sick. So, but we allowed for those full 7 days to come through and pass, and they probably didn't even do it until that Wednesday, because I know they probably had to wait until they had all of their services that day, and whoever comes to pick up the bodies will come that evening, because we didn't even talk to the man and let him know that we wanted to remain until probably 11 o'clock that morning. And then he had other services to do that day. So I know whoever picks the bodies up at night, or if they were there, they probably didn't get a call until after everything was said and done to say, hey, go ahead and cremate that person. So he had the full 7 days. And I feel like that's why he's free and he's okay. But I just don't know, like, this Mandela effect, like, it's real. And maybe even when you think of these people coming back, maybe they look, 'cause, like, if you guys remember when they said Little Richard passed away and then now he's back, the new him, or the person that he is it looks like he came back and he looks skeletal. He looks like a monster. So maybe they have them to reanimate those bodies after they've been buried underground. Who knows? But we allow for the 7 days for my dad to completely exit the vessel, um, and then we cremated him. But I just want to advise or recommend to people that listen to me, and I don't have many followers, I don't have a huge channel, but everything worked out in my favor as far as finance. Although I'm abundant, I have everything I need, I am still in the matrix, as in I have to work. So I'm not completely at my sovereignty the way I'd like to be as far as that's concerned, but everything else I feel is working in my favor as far as my dad is concerned, because my dad took care of us when we were young. He didn't want any of us to work. He always took care of our family. And so even in his death, as I burn these hell notes or these paper, these money, this money to his memory and his essence, when I do it for him, it's like it's happening here, because I didn't have to pay the medium $200. And this lady gave me so much valuable advice. I didn't have to pay for, because when all this stuff started happening at once and all the supernatural things were happening too, I just kind of went into, like, I don't know, I was just feeling crazy. Like, I'm like, what is going on with me? And so I reached out to a few people that I know, and the next video I do, I'm going to have her name ready because I don't remember her name, and I'm sorry. But I reached out to a lady on my Facebook. I didn't know she was a medium, but when I talked to her, she gave me so much valuable advice. I wanted to, and I didn't have a lot to give, but I wanted to provide a donation for her because it was amazing. Then, so it was just like a donation. It was very small, but the information that she's given me has given me it's given me more. It's because I know I am taking care of somebody that took care of me. I reached out to a couple of spiritual people for some help, just to talk, because even though I do all of this, I got so many clip-ins on this video because my son just called and cut my phone off again. So anyways, I forgot where I was or where I was going with that, but I'm probably babbling at this point. But I just, like I said, I recommend everybody just really hone in on your spiritual gifts. Hone in on how you treat your body. Nobody's saying you got to be a freaking bodybuilder, but get out and walk sometimes. Sit out in the sun. Seek knowledge. Seek life. Because I just don't think that the way things are, I know it's not supposed to be like this, and we are supposed to have an understanding deeper than what we have currently. I know we are. And I just want to say, shout out to Flurburn, who I reached out to her because, like I said, I reached out to a few people because I just felt like I was going mad. So I reached out to her. Once again, my dad taking care of me and the universe allowing me to see what's real and what's not. I told her, I'll pay for a Kiki session. And she said, I'm not going to charge you for a Kiki session. And you just lost your father. That's retarded. She talked to me for, I know, almost 3 hours. And helped me to understand a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you guys. Because just because you do this stuff and you read tarot and you do past life regressions and all that, you are still dealing. You're still in your process of learning and growing, and so it's a lot. And when these gifts start activating, I've told you guys about a lot of things that have happened and a lot of understanding that has come forward, but this right here was a lot. On top of all the supernatural things, the grief was a lot. So, and it's still a lot. I still cry. I just was crying a few minutes ago because it hurts bad. It hurts real bad. One of my friends I called in Atlanta, one of my favorite people, and I told him my father died, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He said, "That hurts. It hurts real bad when you lose a parent." And I just didn't know it could hurt that bad. So, but anyway, I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you enjoy the videos, or the video, because I am going to put up this all in one. My kid knows how to like merge shit. I don't know how to do it, so I don't know why I said I'm going to do it, but he'll do it. But you guys have a great afternoon. Bye.